Welcome to BMI Redefined with Jen and Mo. Let's do this.
Oh yeah, let's do this.
Okay. So Jen, I love acronyms.
Ooh.
BMI.
BMI.
BMI. SABA. Do you know what SABA is?
No, what?
Starbucks.
Oh,
Okay, anyway.
yeah.
So BMI. And what exactly is BMI? Can you explain that to everyone?
Well, actually, BMI was the basis for the beginning of our friendship.
Oh, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah. This was why we got together as trainers and friends and workout buddies and all that. When the beginning was really due to BMI. So actually, BMI is the ratio of weight to one's height squared. So it was founded originally by a mathematician and astronomer who was sanctioned by the government 200 years ago to come up with a metric for allocating governmental resource funding. So he developed this metric and actually squared the height to make the formula actually fit the data points that they were already gathering. And one thing he warned us about, though, was to never use this formula or this metric to measure an individual's weight, fatness, or fitness.
Which is what we do all the time. I mean, I grew up knowing what BMI was.
Exactly. So the CDC even makes recommendations for weight gain or loss based on the BMI calculation. So it's interesting, just people that I run across or come into contact with, have quite a few friends that are athletes or fitness professionals, what have you, in the training industry, and many of them have BMIs that would indicate they are obese, yet they have less than 10% body fat. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting that the BMI is really physiologically wrong in that perspective, because people who are working toward a healthier lifestyle may very well have greater bone density, stronger bones, greater lean muscle mass. They might have a lower body fat percentage. They might have their tissues fully hydrated to where water, which we know makes up a part of our actual weight.
So would that explain when I work out, I just feel like, okay, I've got this. I've probably lost 10 pounds. And then again, the scale, and I'm like, what?
Well, there is the whole discussion, and we will have this in a future episode as well, about comparing the weight of fat and the weight of lean muscle mass, because it does make a difference. So I know, like, these people that I was talking about that do have very low body fat percentages and great lean muscle mass still have BMIs that say they're obese, when obviously they're not. And so really not scientifically supported and physiologically wrong in this calculation. So, that's where we just kind of get into this discussion, though. I mean, when you look at BMI from this perspective on what it's actually supposed to tell us, but in actuality is not, what does that mean to you? What experience have you had with BMI?
Oh, my whole life. So my story is going to be talking a lot about weight, obviously, for me personally. And where I started, what I've been through, where I'm at now.
Oh, you're a hottie now.
Aw, thanks. I think I am. No. But even though I've had bariatric surgery, I'm still on a path of finding who I am. And that will never stop, that journey. So where does BMI begin for me is a very easy question. Where has BMI ended for me? I don't know the answer to that yet.
And I don't think we will know the answer for a while.
No. And so where it started was I was about 6 or 7 years old, and I was going up and down the hill, I was playing, and I was a very active child, extremely active child. Like, I would have been the one who was doing soccer and touch football and running around, kickball and things like that. Even though I was a chunky kid, I was still very active. And I remember vividly, I was 7 years old, and I was running up the hill, and I felt like it was like a deep toothache, like a deep ache in my right hip. And I was like, what is that? And then I limped all the way from that hill back home. And I'm like, Mom, Mommy, I'm probably sure I said that. I hurt myself, I'm hurt. And we kept an eye on it. Finally, it wasn't going away. So we went to the doctor. And, I was in and out of the hospital, children's hospitals. I was in and out of a wheelchair, and I was on crutches, and I was in a sling all the way from end of kindergarten through first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade. I was in a wheelchair the entire year. And I even did homeschooling for 6 months because in second grade because of my hip disorder. And basically, Perthes disease is it's kind of like hip dysplasia, except it can be bilateral, but it usually affects one hip. And it's where the socket is totally fine, but the ball is deformed, so it doesn't fit into that socket. And this was early on in the 70s, so they didn't really know what to do with this. So anyway, I remember going to the doctor, the osteopathic doctor, and the first thing I remember him saying to my mom is, after doing all the tests and everything, she should lose some weight because some of that weight off the hip will help it, And not everybody who has LEGG-CALVÉ-PERTHES disease has a weight issue. So, that may have helped it, it may not have. They didn't know back then. And so, and I understood that. I mean, any weight taken off a joint is going to help it. And my primary doctor, they would weigh me, the nurse would take me behind a screen and weigh me. And I never forgot, she wrote down on the paper, obese. And I was like in first grade. And I didn't really know what that was, but.
She wrote the word obese on your chart?
Right next to my name. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so I remember, asking my mom, questions, and she says, well, we need to start, losing some weight, and I'll do it with you. I need to lose some weight too, and we can do it together. And so that's kind of where we bonded. We bonded by going to different meetings and things like that. We'll talk about that later. Again, though, elementary school, even though I went to a very wonderful elementary school, everyone was, really great, very loving, very nurturing, but it was still humiliating going to gym class, and being in my wheelchair in fourth grade, and being, having to go down the hall in the crutches and everything. It was a different childhood for me. And it wasn't definitely not normal. And, so I started out with, obese. And then as I got older, it became morbidly obese. And, so the numbers, I remember the numbers of BMI, 39, 42. My highest BMI, and remember, I'm 5 feet tall. My highest BMI in my whole entire life was 54.7. I think that's about 275, 280. And that was when I was in my 20s. And so I just feel like I never won. I never won with weight. I never won the fight. And I understand, the numbers. I understand the whole BMI thing, but it's really, those numbers really affected my life because people looked at those numbers, not necessarily me, but people like doctors, and they looked at those numbers, and I know why. They have to look at those numbers. That's how they treat people. That's how I feel. Yeah.
But really, from the very beginning, over 200 years ago, that was not the intent.
No.
For BMI.
Right. So what I would like to know is who made that rule that the doctors have to use BMI?
Well, certainly in the fitness industry, we are not about the numbers and all
right.
that. We measure and all that, initial meetings with clients,
right.
whatever, but really there's much more to the picture.
Right, right, exactly. And as a kiddo, going in and being told that you have to lose weight and you have to do this and that and da-da-da, it's hard. It's almost devastating. It crushes you, because then that's the only thing that's on your mind. And no matter how nice a person says it, it's on your mind. So this path began as being obese, and you're not supposed to be obese, and obese is a bad word, and if you don't lose weight, certain things aren't going to happen in your life, and I mean, you just hear different things. And currently, I am still 5 feet tall. I haven't shrunk at all, even though my stepkids tell me I've shrunk. They're like, I think you've shrunk. I'm like, I have not shrunk at all. Maybe in weight, but not in height. Go away. And so I'm currently at 32.4, and but on the BMI chart, I'm considered overweight.
You're still a hottie.
No, thanks.
So recently, remember, we looked at some other measurements, and we actually did an analysis where we looked at your percentage water in your body, your lean muscle mass, which was increasing. Mm-hmm. It's been great. Mm-hmm. How your body fat percentage had lowered and all that. So yeah, BMI is not measuring all that, Mo. It's a number that was like we talked about, designed over 200 years ago for a government allocation, and it is not an indicator of what we're talking about here, like healthy lifestyle and seeing how we perceive our bodies and how others perceive us. So what do you think? What are we going to do with this?
Yeah.
What do you think it really stands for?
Well, I mean, I am, I'm still thinking about that BMI number, I still think about it, and I still use it in my daily life. And I use it as, I know, I'm going to be in trouble for saying the next thing I'm about to say, too. Even worse.
All right.
So hold on a second. So I'm kind of afraid to say it.
Go for it.
But, okay, so I weigh myself every day.
You do not.
Still, yeah. And I know, and I'm trying not to be about the number. I'm trying not to be, okay, the BMI, the scale and everything. I'm trying to be more about the body and the mind and the image of what, you, me as an individual wants. And, so body, mind, and image of what we expect of ourselves, right? And of what we want, not expect, of what we want.
Right.
For ourselves. I mean, we don't want the number. We don't want for anything. We want to feel healthy. We want to feel good. I mean, I know that at 250 pounds and 150 pounds, I still have the same issues.
No comment. Glad you could laugh.
I mean, you could ask anyone in my life, even you, that, things, haven't changed dramatically. What's changed is that I'm smaller, I show people a picture of me from before my bariatric surgery, and they're like, wow, we didn't even know you were that big. And it's like, yeah, I was, because they didn't look at me like that. They looked at my mind and my personality and what I have to offer as an individual. And that's what I want to be focusing on, I guess. And that's what I want this podcast to maybe, promote. So, I don't know.
Absolutely. So, I have a little story too, and it has to do with my original trainer named Matt, and really you could say Matt in the mirror.
Hey! Matt in the mirror. That reminds me of a song. Well, let's see, how does it go? I think it's Michael Jackson. Wait, what is it? I'm starting with the Matt in the mirror. Oh yeah, I'm asking him to change his ways. Ooh, ooh. No message could be any clearer. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and then make a change. Ow!
Oh, love it. Yes. Back to me. Yes. So
Matt in the mirror.
Matt in the mirror. So
okay, go ahead.
So we were living in Cincinnati, and I was working on this book that I've been writing even before that. We were living in Virginia. I was in a rather near fatal car wreck, and we'll talk about it in a later show. But it took me 12 surgeries and 6 years of my life to recover from all that. And during that time, I kind of felt inspired to start writing and maybe write some inspirational works to help people better deal with or overcome some of their challenges. And in the meantime, though, I'm a night person, and
I'm not.
you're not.
I'm a total morning
Well,
person.
do you know what night people do
No.
when they're awake, like almost all night, and they're writing or working on something?
Snacking.
Of course,
Right.
Yes. So, so anyway, I've been doing a little snacking and
Okay, so what were you snacking on?
Gorp,
Okay, what is GORP? How do you spell that?
GORP. It's an acronym.
Oh, I love acronyms. Okay,
For-
but what's GORP?
Good old raisins and peanuts.
Okay, now wait a minute. Hold on a second. You're snacking on GORP.
Well, I write.
Yeah, okay. And so what's wrong with snacking on GORP?
Well, it
Sounds
also
healthy to me.
has some M&Ms in there, but really, it's really trail mix. So from my backpacking days, that's what we would eat before we like climb a mountain, not sitting on a chair in the office.
Okay, so let me just set something straight for you. So I am also a snacker, but I would never snack on GORP and think that that's a bad thing. Okay, I would think, oh, GORP, okay, great. My type of snacking is like cookies and pies and cakes and bags of M&Ms, and we'll throw in some chips. Of course, that's probably how I got to where I was, but I'll tell you what, that's nuts. No pun intended. Okay, but you know, but there are people like I don't understand you people. So I have a friend who was going through something quite devastating, and I don't mean to minimize that at all whatsoever. But I said, is there anything, I'm going to the store, is there anything that you want, you know, anything? And she's like, I just want some bananas. And I'm like, bananas? Where are the cakes? I'll get you a chocolate cake. I'll get you some chocolate chip cookies. I'll get you some lemon pie. What? She wanted bananas. So it just shows that we're all different, right?
Yeah, there are different perceptions.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I may have missed this, but did you gain weight with GORP?
Absolutely.
Did you say this already?
No, I haven't said this because
Okay.
really, because you're eating something that you should be consuming while you're about to climb a mountain, not sitting in a chair or writing a book at 2 a.m. So I gained a few pounds.
Yeah, a few pounds. What's a few pounds?
50.
Wow. Eating GORP. I mean, that's not even fun.
It was a lot of gold. So
I only gained 50 pounds. Seriously?
So
Okay, go ahead.
fast
I don't think we
forward-
can be friends.
I don't know about this.
Go ahead.
I'm
Go
starting
ahead.
to wonder. So we moved to St. Louis.
Yeah.
And I remember it was New Year's morning, and like right after we moved in. And my husband, I was making some coffee, and he comes over and says, you know, you could join a gym if you wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
And he wasn't laughing when he said it. And then he said, well, you could get a trainer. I said, well, yeah, I'll get one for the kids, for the family. We can all do it. He said, no, just for you.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, he's still alive and living, and everything's good.
Sure. Good.
But his point to me was he was trying to tell me that I had put on some weight. I thought that I was rocking the layers and everything, but yeah, not really.
No.
So I went over to the gym and to the J and met up with Matt, and we started working out and lost the weight, gained the muscle, gained a lot of knowledge. He was very inspirational, and he taught me about, don't start singing again, but not that I don't love your singing,
I know I won't.
the
Go ahead.
mirror.
Yeah.
So
No, go ahead.
he taught me about don't weigh. He made me weigh in the beginning just so we get a baseline.
Sure.
But he said overall is how are your clothes fitting? He taught me about like metabolically when to eat, what to eat before different activities to where you wake up thinking about what's my day look like today. And when is my workout? And is it, physical, mental, spiritual workout? What are we doing? And so preparing for that. And so he really taught me about the importance of the mirror and how close. And so we had a tangible goal to get back into my skinny jeans, that kind of thing, did that. But really, it's all about the mirror. And I mean, I'm not saying from a vanity, it was my makeup perfect, but I am known for wearing makeup and mascara in the gym. But anyway, if I was late for a workout, he's like, oh, fixing your lipstick. I said, yeah.
Yeah, hello. I
But,
put my liner on. Go ahead.
But
Yeah.
really, that's what it's about. And so another thing along the same line, though, when we're talking about perceptions and perspectives and what we feel others are thinking about us, I mentioned that car wreck, and Those 12 surgeries during those 6 years left quite a few scars. I'm literally
physical scars,
and
yeah.
mental,
Mm-hmm. And mental,
emotional.
of course, right.
But when I look in the mirror, Mo, that's what my eyes gravitate toward, is the scars. And I've had so many people in my life say, "Oh, well, I never noticed.
See?
Oh, I would have never known." Because I too was in a wheelchair for a while and I had to learn to walk again and all that. And so when people hear your story, my story kind of things, they would look at us now and say, "Really? I wouldn't have known."
So I just have a quick question for you. This has nothing to do probably with anything. But when you were in the wheelchair, did people look at you differently?
They would not look me in the eye.
Me either.
They would look up or down at their feet.
Yep. And do you make an effort to look at people
Yes.
in the eye?
Yes.
And talk to them?
Yes.
Me too.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Because I know how it felt. Yeah.
You feel kind of invisible at times.
Yes.
And so,
Sorry to
no,
derail,
that's
but I thought that's
a good point.
interesting.
That's a good point. So, it's about it's about perspectives and perceptions and what do we see in ourselves and what are others seeing in us. And it's not about the scars, the physical, the emotional. It's not about the BMI as far as body mass index. There's so much more to every single person than those images or numbers.
Right. And those perspectives and perceptions are actually perceptions of others is what really fed into my life, unfortunately, and it started off with those people, and not just doctors. It was probably other people who were concerned about my weight, especially my mom and my dad too, about those perceptions of those people put on to me to be like, oh, I need to be worried about my weight. I need to do something about my weight. Unfortunately, this started in first grade with, like I said before, with TOPS and Weight Watchers and everything like that. So I went to an eating disorder clinic where I went in and thinking, oh, I had this eating disorder, which I did. I mean, I was obese. And I sat down with all these wonderful women around this table. And some were bulimic, some were obese. And I would say that we all joined in a meal together. We all had to eat. And I remember our first meal together. I was sitting there and I had, I was being good. I had my salad and my drink and I had a couple crackers. And then the people across from me, who were the bulimic women. It was funny, we were all intermixed, but they were eating their half a cup of cottage cheese and their little cracker, and I remember being done with everything like in a second. We were supposed to have a half an hour to eat because we were supposed to understand that it wasn't about the food, it was about the community and the talking and everything. And the half an hour was over, 30 minutes was done, and they still weren't finished. And I'm just like, I can help you with that so we can get out of here. I didn't say that, but, I think actually maybe I did say that.
Knowing you probably said that.
I probably did say that. And, but that place was really good for me. It was wonderful for me because it was, and I wasn't inpatient or anything. I would go for a couple of hours at night and, and that was it. But it was really great for me to be with those women. And I'm still friends with those women.
Cool.
And, it taught me that we all struggle with image. We all struggle with ourselves. And I remember looking at all these amazing, accomplished women, moms and daughters and wives. And I thought to myself, you all look great. Why are you here? Why are we here? We really do have really good lives. And, who told you or who told us at one point that in our lives that we weren't enough? Because that's, I think, really what it comes down to is being enough, being comfortable with your body, being comfortable with your thoughts and being comfortable with yourself. Your perception of you is really what matters.
Okay, so it's not just maintaining a body image, but it's finding a healthy lifestyle and realizing that when you see yourself, what are your thoughts and how do you feel? That's really what it's all about. We're here, Mo and Jen, here to help you improve your lifelong perspectives and perceptions because you are enough. We did it! High five!
High fives!
Woohoo! Loved connecting with you guys. Excited to talk with our guests and listeners in the next podcast. So tune in next time for new inspiration on
BMI Redefined with Jen and Mo.